Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Ahmed Noman, currently working as assistant professor in Attak campus of University of Education. And today I'm going to start the lecture about chemometrics, which is first chapter in the course of analytical chemistry for fourth semester of BS. In today's lecture, I will briefly explain you guys about the term chemometrics, what is the meaning of chemometrics, and what is their importance. And after we discuss about chemometrics, we will have some overview of errors which we encounter during the chemical analysis. Also, then there are some terminologies, some basic terminologies which are commonly used in analytical chemistry, and also the other methods like including mean and median, mode. And when we talk about chemical analysis and analytical techniques, so we use some other terms like precision and accuracy and some kind of errors as well. So in this lecture we will just briefly overview and go through these different terminologies which are very commonly used in the analytical chemistry and other sciences of chemistry and the branches of chemistry. So this is will be my first lecture on chemometrics, and we will inshallah finish this chapter in 3 lectures, so we will have 2 more lectures on that. So today we will just overview some basic terminologies, and then in next 2 lectures we will discuss in details about the chemometrics and some other statistical tools which we use in analytical chemistry. Let me first define chemometrics for you guys. So the first question is, what is chemometrics? Actually, it is a branch of analytical chemistry which is used to extract information from different analytical measurements which are made on various chemical systems by using certain mathematical or statistical models or procedures. And in if I want to explain it to you in more easier ways, and जितने भी हम experiment करते हैं, so we get different kind of result from those experiment, whether we are performing spectroscopy or whatever. So जो हमारे पास readings आती हैं उनको जो डाटा है हमारे पास, जो रॉ डाटा आता है किसी भी एक्सपेरिमेंट से, उसको अंडरस्टैंडेबल बनाने के लिए हम उसके ऊपर डिफरेंट फंक्शन अप्लाई करते हैं, बोथ मैथमेटिकल एंड स्टैटिस्टिकल, ताकि हम उसमें से जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकें. दैट ब्रांच ऑफ एनालिटिकल केमिस्ट्री इज एक्चुअली नोन एज chemometrics, in which we use different mathematical and statistical tools to process the raw data and get some useful information. सो जो पहला स्टेप होता है कीमोमेट्रिक्स का, उसमें जो वो है, आप किसी भी वट एवर इंस्ट्रूमेंट यू आर यूजिंग, सो फर्स्ट यू हैव टू मेक अ मेजरमेंट. आप पहले एक मेजरमेंट परफॉर्म करते हैं एंड देन यू कलेक्ट द रिजल्ट्स फ्रॉम दैट मेजरमेंट. आफ्टर कलेक्टिंग दोज मेजरमेंट, देन यू हैव टू प्रोसेस दैट डाटा टू गेट इंफॉर्मेशन. सो नॉर्मली जब हम बात करते हैं measurements की, so we are using different kind of analytical tools. For example, we have different spectroscopic analysis. For example, we are using near IR or infrared spectroscopy, we are using fluorescence spectroscopy, we are using UV visible spectroscopy, Raman spectroscopy. So there are many actually kinds of spectroscopic techniques. Similarly, we have various chromatographic techniques, ion chromatography, gas chromatography, HPLC or other types of liquid chromatography. Similarly, we have some physical methods of analysis, including the measurement of temperature, pressure, flow rate, viscosity and concentration. So these are the methods in which we measure different physical properties of the material. So कहने का मकसद ये है कि हम different analytical techniques use करते हैं to analyze a sample. and these different kind of instrument give different kind of data. For example, if you are working with some UV visible spectroscopy, so what you get either absorption or transmission. So आपने एक सैम्पल रन किया है और आपने उसकी absorbance चेक कर ली. Let's suppose it's the absorbance is 0.5. So what the information you are getting from that value of 0.5? Or if you measure many samples and they have some different values, 0.5, 1, 0.2, 0.3. So this data doesn't mean anything. So to make it understandable and to extract the information, कि उस डाटा से हमें मेन इंफॉर्मेशन क्या मिल रही है, व्हाट नॉलेज वी आर गेटिंग. सो फॉर दैट पर्पस देयर आर डिफरेंट टूल्स which are applied. For example, in IR, actually the most advanced instruments are FTIR, in which we use some Fourier transform during even the analysis, and then after we get the data we apply different statistical tools and mathematical tools to process that and get the useful information. So that is the actually use of chemometrics in analytical chemistry and other branches of chemistry. So this branch of chemistry actually gives us knowledge from the rough data or raw data which we are getting from different kind of instruments during the analysis. So आप किसी भी instrument को देख लें, in whatever branch of chemistry you go, where analysis involved, any instrumental analysis involved, definitely you will be using chemometrics to process the raw data from that instrument. So that shows how important chemometrics is in the analysis of different chemical species or different chemical reactions, and it's that's why inshallah we will study it in a comprehensive way, so you get good knowledge of chemometrics. हम बात कर रहे हैं chemical analysis की and also about the measurements which we get which we perform on different instrument. But the problem is आप एक analysis करते हैं, you perform some test or you want to test some characteristic and you use some instrument and you get some data from it, and definitely you can process it using different tools and you will get information. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि जो आपने एनालिसिस किया क्या ये एक्यूरेट है भी कि नहीं, द इंफॉर्मेशन यू आर गेटिंग वेदर इट इज एक्यूरेट और नॉट. सो that's what we call that the measurements involve errors and uncertainties, that you are not sure whether it is really accurate or not, and there can be actually many reasons which can result in errors during the experiments or during the analysis, and it can be of multiple types. For example, it can be due to the negligence of experimenter जो उसको perform कर रहा है, if उसके जो method है, if there is some mistake in that, so that will definitely result in inaccurate analysis results and the information will not be reliable. Similarly, there are other reasons. For example, if you calibrate instrument before analysis and the calibration is not done properly, so that will also result in errors in the results. And also similarly, if you standardize some solutions and those solutions are not standardized well, and actually the information you are providing is inaccurate and to the instrument, so that will also cause errors in the chemical analysis. So these things can actually create errors जो आपके पास final result आ रहे हैं, जो final information आ रही है. So how can we avoid these kind of errors? First thing is when we are dealing with instruments, so mostly for every kind of instrument we have some protocols. Those instruments need to be calibrated at some definite interval. For example, अगर आप pH meter की बात करते हैं, so the standard protocol is कि before you start using a pH meter, you should calibrate it every day. In the morning when you go to lab and you are going to start piezo meter, so you should first calibrate it. When we are using ion chromatography, similarly, whenever we perform a new sample for any specific compound, so we have to put some standards in it to compare with those internal standards. So every instrument has some protocol. Some instruments require calibration after 6 months, some require after 15 days, some every day, or some every for example, we are working with microtox, which is the technique used for the measurement of toxicity to Vibrio fructiri, some kind of bacteria. So in that, actually for each and every sample you need to put standard and you need to calibrate it. So depend करता है कि आप क्या analyze कर रहे हैं and what kind of instruments you are using. So if we do the frequent calibration and standardization, so we can avoid many kinds of errors in the our analysis. But that is those errors which जो कि experimenter की वजह से हो रहे हैं, but there are some errors which cannot be avoided because they are due to the measurement by the instrument. They are the instrumental errors, so we cannot avoid them. So if we can't avoid them, so what is the solution? Definitely we can't replace an instrument if it's the expensive one. For example, if the instrument is $10 million, so how can you explain how can you replace it if it shows error? You mostly, definitely the financial issues come do arise in that case. So in such case हम क्या करते हैं कि अगर आपके पास इंस्ट्रूमेंटल एरर आ रहा है और उसको आप अपने जो एक्सपेरिमेंटर है उसके कोई रोल नहीं है, आपका इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जो एरर देगा ही देगा. सो इस केस में आप क्या करेंगे? सो डेफिनेटली हम उसको रिप्लेस तो नहीं कर सकते इफ इट्स एन एक्सपेंसिव वन. देन वी हैव टू नो कि वो कितना एरर आ रहा है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ़ यू आर मेजरिंग सम कैरेक्टरिस्टिक एंड यू वांट टू नो दैट we know that there is some error in the instrument, so we have to know how much the error is, कि वो वैल्यू जो है उससे एक्चुअल से कितनी चेंज आ रही है, ज़्यादा आ रही है या कम आ रही है. सो इफ़ वी नो दैट, देन वी कैन एक्चुअली मिनिमाइज द एरर इन इंफॉर्मेशन, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि इंस्ट्रूमेंट जो है वो जो एक्चुअल रिजल्ट है उससे वो वैल्यू इतने दर्जे बढ़ा के बता रहा है या कम करके बता रहा है. सो जब भी हम एनालाइज करेंगे यूजिंग दैट इंस्ट्रूमेंट, सो वी कैन add those values or subtract those values into the final result, so that we can avoid the error in our final data, and we can get the correct information. So ये जो लेक्चर है आज का हमारा, इसके अंदर we will discuss about those things के what kind of errors can be there, and also in next lecture actually we will study in more detail about these kind of experimental error that can affect our chemical analysis. And today actually we will study more about the common terms and the techniques are the mathematical techniques or experimental techniques we normally use, कि हम उसके ज़रिए हम ये जज कर सकें कि whether कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट में या हमारे एनालिसिस में कोई एरर तो नहीं है, और अगर एरर है तो उसको रिमूव किया जा सके. सो there are some common terminology, and today inshallah we will discuss those things. Let's discuss a little bit more about the errors and uncertainties in our chemical analysis and how we can avoid them. So to make sure that our analysis is reliable and the information we are getting is actually correct, so one of the common method is that we perform experiments in replicates. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल, आप कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं, आपने कोई एनालिसिस करना है, आपने कोई मेजरमेंट करनी है. सो इफ़ वी आर एनालाइजिंग वन सैम्पल, सो हम ये करते हैं कि हम उस एक सैम्पल को 2 या 3 दफ़ा, सम टाइम अप टू 5 टाइम्स जो है हम जो है वो अलहदा से उसको मेजर करते हैं, ताकि अगर कोई उसके अंदर एरर आ रहा है, फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल इट्स द इंस्ट्रूमेंटल एरर और सम सैम्पल एरर और सम handling error. So if we are performing 5 for example replicates or 3 replicates, so what we get actually, if we are doing it wrong in one sample, there may be some error in that sample, but if we perform 3 or 5 samples, so the possibility of error actually वो कम हो जाता है हमारे पास. So then what we do actually when we get five different readings, so we can see whether they are very close to each other or if there is a huge amount of difference between, so we can know whether the analysis is right or wrong, or if we can guess if there is any error. For example, आप एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं और उसके जो सैंपल है उसको मल्टीपल सैंपल लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल एक ही आपके पास सोल्यूशन है और आपने उसे सैंपल बनाने हैं. यू मेक 2 सैंपल्स एंड हर एक सैंपल को आप 3-3 दफ़ा रन करते हैं, and then you take an average. So because it's the same sample and you are following the same protocols, it means that all the 6 values, they should be the similar. Definitely they cannot be the exactly same, but they should be very similar. And if they are similar, it means your analysis is accurate, you are performing it really well. But if the values are really different, then it means that there is some error and you should re-perform that experiment to get the accurate result. So अब आपने experiment किया and you get 6 different values. So what values you can use? So that's actually troublesome question. So the most commonly used method is that you use the central value, and there are different ways to determine that certain value. Some people use mean or some people use median. We will discuss what is mean and median and mode, but most commonly mean is used to get a central value from some set of data. Second thing, we can use that mean value, and then second thing which जो parameter है जो हम use करते हैं to measure the uncertainty or error in the analysis के जो आपके पास values हैं जो आप replicates कर रहे हैं, how much difference is between those values performed on the same sample using the same protocol. So those kind of parameters which are like standard deviation, variance, we call it coefficient of variation or relative standard deviation. So that will be also discussed in inshallah next lecture, these terminologies. So these are actually used to estimate how much error actually is there in our set of values performed on the same sample. So now let's move to some common terminologies used in analytical chemistry. So among the terminologies which are most commonly used in chemometrics, the first one is the mean. As I discussed in the previous slide, it is the most commonly used measure to determine the central value in the set of data. It is also called sometimes arithmetic mean, or also known as average of a set of data. So it is usually obtained by dividing the sum of replicate measurements by the number of measurements in the set. It is represented by x bar, and it's equal to summation of xi divided by n, where xi represents the individual values and making up that set or the replicates, and n is the number of analysis or number of measurement. So let's try an example so that you can understand it in a better way. So if we perform an experiment, let's suppose we are doing some titration experiment. So same experiment we perform for 4 times, we repeat it for 4 times to get the more reliable value. So for example, we perform some titration and we get different values if we repeat it 4 times. For example, we get the value of 10.1 ml, 9.9 ml, 10 ml and 10.2 ml. हमने एक एक्सपेरिमेंट किया 4 बार, एक सेम टाइट्रेशन किया, हमारे पास चारों दफ़ा जो है वो वैल्यू थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट आ रही है. ऑल्दो इट्स सिमिलर बट द वैल्यू इज़ डिफरेंट. सो अब हमें इसमें से हम कैसे जज करेंगे विच इज़ द मोर एक्यूरेट वन. सो द कॉमन वे एज आई डिस्कस्ड इज़ वी टेक अ सेंट्रल वैल्यू, एंड ऑल्सो देयर इज़ नॉट अ सिंगल straightforward central value that we can use. So we have to use some method. So the most common method is taking the mean or the average. So what we do, हम जो हमारे पास 4 वैल्यू आई हैं, जो 4 रेप्लिकेट हमने किया, वी ऐड दोज वैल्यूज एज एक्सप्लेन इन दिस एग्जांपल. सो वी ऐड 10.1, 9.9, 10 and 10.2. So what we get is a sum of 40.2. So we take summation of all the replicates, and what we do next is we divide it with the number of replicates कि हमने कितने दफ़ा जो है वो analysis किया है. So that was actually 4. So we divide 40.2 by 4 and we get 10.05. So this is the mean or average or arithmetic mean of those titrations, or the set of titration we perform for the same sample. So this value is more accurate if then rather than we use the value of either 10.1 or 9.9 or 10.2. So this value is average, is the average of all those 4 values, and that actually shows the more accurate result for that set of titration. And this is the most common way of using mean when we perform a set of experiments or when we are working with replicates. So we most commonly used mean to find the central value. Now just briefly discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of the mean value. So there are some merits of using the mean and also some demerits. So we will look over these for now. So normally the mean is, as we discussed, that it is the most commonly used or the universally used method. And one of the reason for its universal use is because of that its stability. So if we are having some replicate samples and one of the sample shows some fluctuation, so it overall it doesn't affect the overall mean value of those रेप्लिकेट. सो जो मोस्टली इनके जो मीन वैल्यू होती है, अगर आप 5 कर रहे हैं या 3 रेप्लिकेट कर रहे हैं तो उसमें अगर थोड़ी बहुत फ्लक्चुएशन भी है तो उसको ये कवर कर लेता है, एंड ओवरऑल जो रिजल्ट्स होते हैं नॉर्मली जो है वो स्टेबल होते हैं. द सेकेंड एडवांटेज ऑफ यूजिंग मीन इज़ दैट इट इज़ बेस्ड ऑन ऑल द वैल्यूज़ और ऑल द रेप्लिकेट्स और ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशन. सो if you perform a triplicate or a duplicate, or if you perform an experiment in 5 sets, so the mean value will be average of all those values, so it includes all the data sets. So that is also an advantage of using the mean value as the tool to find the central value from a set of data. Among disadvantages, one of the main disadvantages of using the mean is, again, because it's based on all the observations. So if there is some very extreme value present in the data which is very different from the other values, so that can actually affect the mean value, which makes and can cause actually some error. For example, हम एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि अगर हमारे पास एक हम एनालिसिस करते हैं और उसके अंदर हम जैसे पहले हमने किया, हमने टाइट्रेशन कर रहे हैं और हमने 4 डिफरेंट उसके सेट किए हैं. सो कई दफ़ा ये भी होता है कि जो वैल्यूज़ होती हैं वो बहुत डिफरेंट होती हैं, तो उनका जो मीन होता है वो रिलायबल नहीं होता. फॉर एग्जांपल एक तो ये है कि एक तो आपके पास 3 डाटा सेट है, जैसे हमारे पास वैल्यूज़ 10.9 और 9.9 और 10 के दरमियान आ रही है, वहाँ पे एक वैल्यू आ जाए अराउंड 15. सो उस 15 की वजह से जो बाकी 3 का एवरेज है वो भी चेंज हो जाएगा और जो वैल्यू आएगी हमारे पास वो एक्यूरेट नहीं होगी. सिमिलरली हम एक एग्जांपल देखते हैं कि अगर हमारे पास जो वैल्यूज़ हैं वो डिफरेंट आ रही. फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास हम टाइट्रेशन करते हैं, हमारे पास वैल्यू 10, 7, 15 और 6 आ रही. तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि जो हमारे पास वेरिएशन है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है. सो यहाँ पे अगर हम इसका मीन लेते हैं, द वैल्यू इज़ 9.5 इफ़ वी कंबाइन ऑल दीज एंड डिवाइड बाय 4. बट इफ़ वी compare it with the individual values of 10 or 15 or 7 and 6, so the mean value is really different from the individual values. So in such a case there are two things. First कि अगर आपके पास इस तरह से डाटा आ रहा है, it means there is some problem in either analysis or with the instrument. So इस तरह का जो डाटा अगर आएगा तो वो reliable नहीं होता, because it has a very large deviation from the mean value. So that actually will indicate कि आपका जो एनालिसिस है वो ठीक नहीं हो रहा. और अगर हमारे पास यहीं पे इसी एग्जांपल में हम कहते हैं कि हमारे पास जो 3 वैल्यूज़ हैं वो हमारे पास आ रही हैं 10 और एक वैल्यू जो है वो 15 आ रही है. सो दैट वैल्यू एक्चुअली द एक्यूरेट वैल्यू वी कैन से दैट उसका जो मीन होता है वो 10 के करीब आना चाहिए, लेकिन ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ अ सिंगल वैल्यू, क्योंकि मीन के अंदर आप सब वैल्यूज़ को ऐड करते हैं, सो दैट विल एक्चुअली काज एन एरर. सो दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ द मीन. पैरामीटर जो मोस्ट कॉमनली यूज होता है सेंट्रल वैल्यू को फाइंड करने के लिए वो मीडियन होता है. Median is actually the middle result when the replicate data sets are arranged in an ascending or descending order. I mean within increasing or decreasing order. So if there are equal number of results, so there are mostly equal number of results which are smaller than median, also larger than median. So यहाँ पे दो चीज़ें आती हैं हमारे पास कि if we are doing some experiment, for example in triplicate, so we will arrange those 3 values in an ascending or descending order and the central value will be the median. But if we are performing 4 set of experiment, then we will arrange it in ascending or descending order, and we will take mean or average of the central values, 2 central values, and that average of those central values will be the median. Just look at those examples. So in example 1 we see that we have atomic masses of different elements in the periodic table, and we have to find the median of this data. So we have 5 values which are 14, 32, 12, 16 and 24. So we have to arrange first these into either an ascending or descending order. So in this solved example we have arranged these values into ascending order. So first the smallest one is 12, then 14, then 16 and then 24 and then 32. So because there are 5 values, so we choose the central one which is 16, and that will be the median value from this set of data. And as you can see, जैसे हमने पहले देखा था कि the equal number, दो numbers जो हैं वो 24 and 32, that is bigger than the median, larger than the median, and also 2 values which are 12 and 40, they are smaller than the median value. But that was the case if we have odd number of values. But if we have even number of values as given in the example 2, for we have 4 data sets including 32, 12, 16 and 24. So similar to example 1, first we have to arrange in an either ascending or descending order. Again we arrange it in ascending order in the solved example. So we arrange it at 12, 16, 24 and 32. So because अब हमारे पास 4 वैल्यूज़ हैं तो हम इसमें से सेंट्रल वैल्यू ऐसा पिक नहीं कर सकते. सो व्हाट वी विल डू कि हम यहाँ से जो सेंट्रल 2 वैल्यूज़ हैं हम उनको लेते हैं, उनको जमा करते हैं और उसको 2 से डिवाइड कर देते हैं, विच मीन वी टेक मीन ऑफ द 2 सेंट्रल वैल्यूज़. Here the median will be the average of 16 and 24. So if we add 16 and 24 is 40, so we divide by 2 and we get 20. So that will be the median value of this data set. As we discussed in the case of mean, there are some advantages and some disadvantages. इसी तरह जो मीडियन वैल्यू जब हम यूज़ करते हैं टू फाइंड द सेंट्रल वैल्यू ऑफ अमंग अ सेट ऑफ डाटा, so it also has some merits and demerits. First merit of the median is it's really easy to understand. So what you have to do is we just need to arrange the data in ascending or descending order and just pick the central value or take average of 2 central values in case of even data. Another key merit of median is it is not affected by extreme values. अगर आपके पास डाटा सेट है, एक वैल्यू बहुत छोटी आ जाती है, बहुत बड़ी आ जाती है, which we call an extreme value. So because we are using the central value in an arranged data, so अगर आपके पास फॉर एग्जांपल आप एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं, 5 एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं, so you get values of 10, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3 and then you get a value around 15. So when you gonna arrange the data into ascending order with 10, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3 and 15, so your median value will be the central one, that is 10.2. so जो एक वैल्यू उसमें एक्सट्रीम वैल्यू आ रही है जो कि एरर आ रहा है, so that will not affect actually your central value which is the median value. So this is can be considered as a merit point for some cases. And Also that another advantage is it's easier to calculate. So we discuss, because it doesn't include extreme, it is not affected by extreme values, so it can be a merit of median, but that can also be a disadvantages in certain cases, because it ignores the extreme values. So sometime if you have some variation in data and your due to any reason, so you have some very small values and very large values, so maybe the accurate data is the sum of all those values and not the just the central value. So, but because median excludes the smaller and large value and it only considers central values, so it can also result in some kind of error in some cases, though that's not common, but in some cases it can be a demerit of the median, that it is not based on all the values. But normally जब हम बात करें तो जो it is considered as merit किस of median as compared to mean, किसके अंदर जो है आप एक्सट्रीम वैल्यूज जो हैं वो उसके जो फाइनल आपके पास रिजल्ट आता है जो सेंट्रल वैल्यू लेते हैं from set of experiment, तो वो affect नहीं होती through extreme values. So mostly it is considered as the merit of median and not the demerit, but there are some exception where it is considered as demerit. Another parameter which we use to find the central values in a set of data is called the mode. So mode is the most frequently occurring value in a set of data, or the most commonly occurring value in a set of data. नॉर्मली जो मोड होता है ये उन डाटा सेट के लिए यूज़ होता है जब जहाँ पे आपके पास बहुत ज़्यादा डाटा सेट्स हों. लाइक इट मोड जो है, अगर आपके पास 3 या 4 वैल्यूज़ हैं तो वहाँ पे यूज़ नहीं होगा, बल्कि अगर आपके पास 8-10 डिफरेंट वैल्यूज़ आ रही हैं सेम सैम्पल की, तो वहाँ पे जो है इन सच ए केस, और मे बी मोर देन 10 और मे बी लाइक 50 अगर वैल्यूज़ हैं, तो वहाँ पे इनके सच केसेस वो यूज़ द मोड. सो मोड के अंदर व्हाट यू फाइंड इट, मोड जो है वो वैल्यू होती है, सेंट्रल वैल्यू होती है कि जो जिसकी जो फ्रीक्वेंसी होती है वो सबसे ज़्यादा होती है. फ्रीक्वेंसी से क्या मुराद है कि फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव डाटा सेट ऑफ कंटेनिंग 15 वैल्यूज़. सो इन सम वैल्यूज, कुछ ऐसी वैल्यूज जो होंगी रिपीट कर रही है. फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास सेट है जिसके अंदर वैल्यू जो है वो जो उनकी रेंज है दैट इज़ अराउंड 50 to 70, बट उसके अंदर जो वैल्यू ऑफ 62 है वो फॉर एग्जांपल 4 दफ़ा आई है, बाकी वैल्यू 1-2 दफ़ा आ रही है. सो जो मोस्ट कॉमनली अकरिंग वैल्यू है जो ज़्यादा उसके अंदर आ रही है उसको हम कहते हैं ये इसका मोड है. और मोस्टली इसको जिस तरह से आप देख सकते हैं जो ग्राफ बना हुआ है इस तरह से उसको हम ड्रॉ करते हैं, उसकी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है उसको फाइंड करते हैं. जो सेकंड डायग्राम है जिसके अंदर हम देख लेंगे जिसमें आप एक सिमेट्रिकल पीक है, so it shows that it has just only one mode, which means there is only one value which or one data that actually occurs more than one time, or which is occurring for the highest number of time. So in such a case we call that kind of data set as unimodal data set, in which only one value is occurring multiple times. In the third diagram from the top we see there are two actually peaks. So which shows that there are two values which have the same frequency in the data set. So we call such model data set as bimodal data set. And in the last diagram at the bottom we can see that it has 3 peaks. So it's this is the example of a multimodal data set in which more than 2 values occur with the same highest frequency. For example, if you have a data set of 20 different values, there might be 3 values which occur 4 times or 3 times, so they have the same frequency in the data set. तो इस तरह का जो हमारे पास डाटा सेट्स आते हैं हम उनको कहते हैं कि मल्टी मॉडल डाटा सेट हैं, जिसके अंदर 3 या 4 वैल्यूज़ ऐसी हैं कि जिनकी जो अकरिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी है वो सेम है. इसको हम maybe you can better understand in the next slide when we do some example. So in simple words, mode is the number which appears most often when we arrange the data in an ascending or descending order. So for example, we take a data set as shown here. It includes 8, 2, 6, 5, 3, 261,479. So this is 11 values, actually 11 data set, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 11. So first we need to arrange it either in ascending order or a descending order, but as we did in the case of median, so we will in this example we will arrange the data set in an ascending order. So जब हम इसको ascending order में increasing order में arrange करते हैं, so it appears like 1 2 2 3 4 5 6 6 7 8 9. So we can see that in this particular example, when we arrange the data in ascending order, we can see that all other values except 2 and 6 appear only one time. 1 3 4 5 7 8 9, they appear only one time. However, the number 2 and number 6, they appear 2 times. So the mode of this data will be 2 and 6 because both appear 2 times. So this is an example of bimodal data set. Let's come to the merits and demerits of using the mode to find the central value in a set of data. First advantage of using the mode is it's relatively easy to understand and very simple to calculate. Also, it's not affected by extreme values, and if there is some outlier or very strange or very different value, so it overall will not affect the mode of the data sets. Also, अगर आपके पास कोई ग्राफ है, जब जैसे हमने देखा हमने जो उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जब हम ड्रॉ करते हैं, we will inshallah study about frequency distribution, how to draw that in our third lecture. So in that we can just look at the diagram and or the figure, and we can just simply locate the mode. So it's really very quite easy, the location of the mode in a diagram or in a frequency distribution diagram. So it's very easy to locate it graphically. जब इसके disadvantages की बात करते हैं, so one of the disadvantages is not really well defined because it's just simply the value which is occurring many times. But the problem with using the mode is it's not based on all the values. So it's just focusing on the values which whose frequency is higher. So but it doesn't cover all the values, and it is also affected by the sampling fluctuations. In some cases, as we discussed in the previous slide, that sometimes we can have more than one value whose frequency are similar. So it can have more than one mode, it can have 2 modes, or it can have 3 modes. लेकिन जब हम एक sample करते हैं replicates में, so what we actually want to have only one value which represents that set of data. लेकिन अगर आपके पास 2 या 3 वैल्यू ऐसी हैं जो एक जैसी फ्रीक्वेंसी के साथ आ रही हैं, so you don't have a single central value, so again you have multiple values. So that is actually a problem with using the mode as a parameter to find the central value. And also there are certain cases in which we can have no mode. There are many values which have the same frequency, or there is no value which has higher frequency than the other value. So in that case we have no mode. So for that kind of data set we cannot use mode to find the central value. So these are some of the disadvantages of the mode. So I think that's enough for today's lecture. So we have studied today about the chemometrics, the introduction to some errors in chemical analysis, and also we have studied about the 3 basic parameters which are used to locate the central value in a data set, namely the mean, median and mode. So inshallah in the next lecture we will study about the precision, accuracy, standard deviation, relative standard deviation, and further about some systematic and other errors. And but for today I think it's enough. For preparing this lecture, I consulted two books, Fundamentals of Analytical Chemistry by Scooge and Analytical Chemistry by G.D. Christian and Dasgupta. And beside these books, I have used some material from internet as well. Thank you for your patience and going through this lecture. I hope कि आपको कुछ ना कुछ या थोड़ा बहुत समझ आया होगा. And अगर नहीं आया, in case you don't understand anything or you have any question, you are really welcome and free to ask. So thank you and Allah Hafiz.